Hey guys, what is going on and welcome back to a slightly different video here on the channel where today we are playing Fortnite Save the World and we are going to complete my current main quest, which is Twine Peaks Storm Shield Defense 1. Effectively, Save the World can give a lot of V-Bucks for those founders like myself, and some of them are locked into Twine Peaks, so I think it's about time I actually break into Twine Peaks. So we're going to head into my Storm Shield, try and do Storm Shield Defense 1. Now, when I did Canny Valley Defense 1 on this channel, it didn't go well. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, we're going to take a little look overall at like the area and such. I know Twine Peaks is particularly difficult with like obsidian towers and lava and all sorts, but we only need to worry about the actual SSD for now, so it shouldn't be too complicated if a build. But let's get this one done and see if we can actually defend it successfully. So folks, first thing I noticed when I'm loading in is that we're up on a very tall mountain. There are no easy access points for other amplifiers except for that one there, I guess. So I think, honestly, building this is going to be a kind of tough one to do, because how do you build such a tough defense? So I'm going to go for a reasonably generic build, and I'm not going to make you guys sit through all of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip ahead until the build is completed. So folks, basics of design. Concentricity seems to be good for higher level storm shielders. So what I like to have is my inner walls, then I have my cones that I invert to try and have them facing inwards, that's an extra layer. Then I use floors for a third layer and walls for a fourth. I don't always do the fourth layer, but I think for Twine Peaks it's probably worth it. The only problem with this is it is expensive and trap placement might not be the easiest, but all in all, this seems promising, at least for now. I'm probably going to get my hopes and dreams completely ruined soon, but we can have a little bit of hope. Let's try and get some traps in here. And you never know, we might just be able to pull it off. So folks, what I've now done is I've added an extra ring around the edge with roofs. On those roofs I've put a series of traps, so like gas traps, ceiling zappers and ceiling electric fields. I've also dotted a few more anti-air traps around the edge to try and shoot down any projectiles that might come in my way. Ways that I could potentially add a little bit more to this is I could obviously add floor traps outside of my outer wall as well, so that there's extra trappage there, but realistically that might be overkill, at least for now. Obviously this is only Twine Peaks Storm Shield Defense 1, and most importantly about that is the key fact that realistically, once I start adding amplifiers, this is not going to be attacked quite as much. So really, I don't want to go overkill on the actual SSD, but realistically I always make the SSD the most well defended bit. I did forget to give myself an entry point, so I've sort of broke one through the roof, but I guess it's time to begin. Twine Peaks Storm Shield Defense 1. And fingers crossed, we're
here we go! Shield power increasing.
Pretty successful.
Prepare for an attack from the north.
Oh, that is interesting. So it would appear that there's environmental hazards in Twine Peaks where the lava can sort of spew onto the actual map. So I didn't know the thing. I mean, I guess it makes sense that it's happening, but I genuinely didn't know that existed. Now, this is only a 2-minute defense wave, so honestly, it shouldn't be this one. But I am worried about just sheer numbers of enemies that they seem to like to spawn in. Mostly in terms of the fact that, like, I get a load of people in wave 1 and get attacked from this side again. I think that's one of the key aspects of Twine Peaks is that it is an onslaught. It's supposed to be an onslaught. I mean, one thing I have noticed is that in certain areas they're sort of reaching like outer wall. They don't seem to be getting too yet. I mean, it is only 2 minutes, but God knows how many minutes the second wave will be. And the key problem is just how much damage they're sustaining from those already reached a big line through.
Another wave coming soon.
I guess I'll just do a few repairs, just emergency ones. And then prepare for an attack from the east now, which is... Honestly, I think that's what makes Storm Shield defenses so difficult, is the sustained damage in between every single phase is just so nasty. Oh, and this does not look nice. This really doesn't look nice. A 5-minute wave. It's kind of crazy, I can't lie. Fingers crossed though that there's no smashers. I feel like smashers would be really scary to fight against right now. Also keep an eye out for flingers as well. The last thing you want is for husks to be thrown across your defences. And that does happen. It happens in Canny, it happens... I mean, it even happens somewhat in Canton, but I mean, it does become more of an issue once you reach Canny. But yeah, I think the main reason why I wanted to do this video is like cataloguing to an extent, but also to any of you out there that are founders and you're come to the conclusion of me that getting further in the storyline is worth it because of those relooks at schools and daily mission alerts. Frankly, we're not doing too bad. Hopefully this video can help us. All I'm hoping right now is that Wave 3 is potentially an encounter rather than a timer. The ones where you just have to kill a certain number of enemies, I often find those to be generally easy. I don't know about the rest of you, I don't know what you guys think, but it's just my general opinion from previous Storm Shields, Boss Canny in particular. Up on the roof where the flingers flung them. It really is flingers that you need to watch out for. Like, I know everyone gets scared of smashers and quite rightly so. Smashers are a problem, especially elemental ones like we had in the first wave, but I think flingers are just as bad because if they throw something over and that's something nice, well-defended area. Honestly, so, because this wave seems to be very generic at the moment, I'm going to skip forward a little bit. I don't want you guys having a bit too much. So folks, coming into the last 15 seconds of wave 2, what have I learned so far? Honestly, one of the key things I've learned is that I've somehow managed to have both overgrowth and undergrowth at the same time. But
Another wave
the
coming
key
soon.
thing that I'm learning, and this is the big
Prepare for an
problem
attack from
that
the
I'm
north.
now going to face, is that wave 3 is from the north, which is the same as wave 1, which means that I need to make sure that my defence over there is as reconstructed as I can get it, which is not the simplest thing to do. So, what is the goal for wave 3? Fingers crossed it is only an enemy elimination counter. Oh, it is, and it's only 150. Honestly, this might be the easiest wave though. I mean, it does mean that it's going to be absolutely fluent, but it also means that you should just be able to kill waves. Get there reasonably easy. Don't anticipate us. It should be relatively impossible to I say that we are kind of getting overrun, but I guess that's just being nature and nature does as such as that we are getting all our energy drained constantly. But even with me being down, we're kind of getting some more enemies. Hopefully my traps can get that done for me. If not, I've got one left. Yeah, we can get that done. But just like that, we finally have our Twine Peaks StW. It wasn't dreadful of a mission. It was a tough one. I think it was on the sort of vibe of Canny, but obviously Canny 1 was really difficult, so was Twine 1, but I actually think I found Canny 1. Maybe I was just better prepared for this. I mean, I did just a slight overkill with my build, but all in all, that was Twine Peaks StW Defense 1. But what does that unlock? Well, for starters, it gives you XP towards your battle pass, which is nice. I also got a side quest done, but that's kind of irrelevant. And then the useful one, 100 V-Bucks, or if you are not a founder, it'll be 100 X-ray tickets. But for completing this, you get some new perks. So I now have increased building resource capacity, meaning I can now have 5,000 woodstone and metal, which is nice. For my expeditions, I have unlocked the second slot in the helicopter, and I have also unlocked 3 more slots for the Gadgeteers Survivor Squad, which is probably the most important part. So I guess we now put in 3 more survivors that match up the rest of the team, and then if we upgrade those, you'll notice in the top left my power level has just crept up
What a team!
to 102, but we might be able to push it a little bit higher. Problem is I don't have enough stuff to actually upgrade these survivors properly, but we are already nearly 103. If I can get these guys up properly to 4 stars, we're talking a lot higher than that. So that's the useful thing with being in Twine Peaks, is that your Storm Shield defences are now going to unlock more survivors for your squads, which means that you can just make yourself more powerful, which is really useful. But the key thing that I want to look at we now have access to Twine Peaks. So all the missions here are either 76 or 82 for the first bit. But we are now looking at rewards of like a much higher amount alongside Obsidian and Shadow Shard. Obviously as we progress even further into Twine Peaks we will get more than just that. But honestly, this is quite a useful start. And now means that I can do some more missions. So, obviously join us next time for more Battle Royale probably, but we will be back with more Sage of Wild eventually, when I can be bothered to do Storm Shield Defense 2. With all of that in mind, guys, that's where we're going to end the video for today. So I hope you found it informative, enjoyable, and fun to watch as always. And I'll see you all